It's safe to say that FNAF games can get quite difficult. But how difficult would it be to beat every single FNAF game without dying a single time? This was the question I asked myself the other day, and it began one of the most difficult challenges I'd ever attempted. In order to beat it, I would need to play through all mainline FNAF games from FNAF 1 all the way up to Secret of the Mimic. And in order to succeed, I would need to grind over 100 hours worth of attempts. That's 100 hours where I would be made to bend the laws of physics, master the mechanics of all the games, and reset countless times. Starting off with FNAF 1, I was more than a little scared.
It can't be like that bad, right?
I had never played the game before, and that meant that I was having to learn everything like how the animatronics worked, as well as the core strategy as I went, leading to predictable outcomes. Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of FNAF 1, by the way. With its placement at the beginning of the challenge, we're going to have to play through this game every single time we die. So while I might have gone into this a newbie, by the end of this challenge, we're going to be coming out as masters, making our own strats that are more efficient than the ones you may be familiar with.
Animatronics? Yeah, obviously. No, it actually might be a strat to hold Freddy on dining area cam instead of the stage, because now, like, I can save power by not having to check the right or left side whenever I see Bonnie or Chica there. Chat, hope and pray. Chat, hope and pray. Oh. Let's go! Let's freaking go! And now we start FNAF 2.
No! Oh my god! No! No, please, no! On paper, FNAF 2 has a pretty simple game plan. Check each vent to stop threats like Mangle, the Toys, and Balloon Boy, flash the hallway to stop Foxy, wind the box for the puppet, put the mask on to deal with any of the wizards, and then repeat the process for 45 straight minutes. Gameplay. With such a simple game plan though, I was pretty certain we could get through this game on our first attempt. So long as I didn't make any mechanical fuck-ups, there wasn't really anything that I could...
Turn, just please turn. Please.
It's been 20 hours, and I'm still at FNAF 2. Yeah, so as it turns out, I'd drastically underestimated FNAF 2. While the main strat we showed off does theoretically handle all the animatronics, it has one major flaw. Shit. After playing FNAF 2 for this challenge, I began hearing this jingle in my nightmares. If an animatronic enters your office, by the time you've handled all other threats, you aren't able to wind the music box for long enough to get back what you had before. On most nights, that's fine, but specifically for the last 2 hours of night 5, the AI levels are high enough that with some bad RNG, you can get enough back-to-back animatronics that it's physically impossible to keep the box wound up. Multiple times, we would spend 45 minutes grinding through FNAF 1, make it over to FNAF 2, breeze through the first 4 nights, and then night 5 would start, and it's completely manageable all the way up until 4 AM, where all of a sudden... Purgatory. Early game purgatory. It wouldn't be until 20 hours into the challenge that we'd finally get a run where the RNG managed to line up enough for us to make it past FNAF 2. But this is just the second of 9 whole games that we're going to be playing through. Each one presumably being even harder than the ones that came before it, and if FNAF 2 was giving us this much trouble, how bad was FNAF 3 going to be? Oh my god! Oh, look at him, he can't do anything! FNAF 3 is astonishingly easy when compared to the other two, so much so that we easily beat it in our first try. By simply spamming the cameras, you effectively remove phantoms from the game entirely, as most of them are tied to the camera either being up or down for an extended period of time. Doing this turns FNAF 3 into a laughably easy nothing burger of a game, with all threats essentially vaporized from play. This is probably a good point to mention though, that one of the other rules in this challenge is that we don't need to get any specific ending. For instance, we don't need to go through the old school COD Easter egg to get the good ending here. So long as we make it through all 5 nights, we can consider the game beaten. And with that, we've not only made it past the 3rd game in the series, but also put ourselves in the 2nd third of the challenge. Though it's this 3rd that scared me the most. You see, I had played FNAF 2 and 3 all before, but the only one out of these these 3 that I'd played was number 6, and I remember being completely unable to beat it. I had no idea how difficult the other 2 were going to be, and I would quickly find out that I fucking hate FNAF 4. This dumb fuck of a game has measurably taken years off my life. I fucking despise this game. From its shitty little fake breathing sounds to the fact that sometimes breathing can take far longer to start than you expect it to. Picture this. You've been trying as hard as you can for over 2.5 hours playing every single FNAF game to perfection, all the way up until 4. Oh, joyous me! You think to yourself, all I gotta do here is listen out for this breathing and I'll be fine! I fucking hate FNAF 4! The worst bit is, this game isn't even the end of our troubles. Sister Location, while fine for like 90% of it, has a complete roadblock in the form of Night 4, not to mention FNAF 6 that... well, we'll get to that. It was these games that were so laughably impossible that it started what would come to be known as the era of the gauntlet, a name given to it because these 3 games would act as a completely impassable barrier, stopping any run with potential dead in its tracks. It started off relatively tame. The first death came down to me simply pressing shift instead of control. Easy mistake to make. I'm sure we'll get back in no time. And I was right. Instead of taking 20 hours, it would only take another 10 before I got another crack of FNAF 4, which also didn't go very well. Whatever, let's just get through these first few games again and... God, fuck! Jesus fucking! What the fuck? Yeah, this took a while. It was around this point that I decided something needed to change. It was like there were these barriers in the way of me being able to beat this game. I was making absolutely zero progress playing the games as I was, because by the time I was able to slodge through all the original games to make it back, any amount of quote-unquote practice I'd gotten from previous attempts were basically all gone. I began feeling completely defeated, and it was in that moment with me sat there staring at the lineup in front of me that I thought, whoop, that's right, I almost felt stupid for not realizing this entire time I could just change the order we play the games in. And with that realization, one of the largest roadblocks stopping us from beating this game was just removed. By setting FNAF 4 as the first game, we've opened up an opportunity to actually start making some real progress, and I was intent on taking it. Let's fucking go. Oh my god, finally. And with that, we were able to start making some progress again. Finally getting out of the blender that was FNAF 4 and making it over to Sister Location.
Daddy, why won't you let me play with her?
I'm gonna play with you in a second. That's a little girl. I should not have said that. Chat. How do I control Z IRL? Sister Location is a much easier game than the ones that came before it. The game has different tasks for each night instead of the same one with ramping difficulty, and what's good about this is that the overwhelming majority of them are basically completely safe. Night 1 is a total nothing burger, and Night 2 has a couple fairly easy segments where you need to crawl through Ballora's room to restart the power. Night 3 would be scary since you need to crawl through Funtime Foxy's room, which is a significant step up from Ballora's, but by just tapping W repeatedly instead of holding it, you're guaranteed to make it to the other side without being harmed. And with that, you'd be reasonable to think that this game was going to be pretty easy. Yeah, you all knew this was coming. Sister Location's Night 4 is a notoriously massive jump in difficulty. Being stuck in a springlock suit, the aim of this minigame is to keep all of the springlocks wound up. If you allow any of them to get too loose, you die. While doing this, you also have to fend off the mini-arenas that attempt to crawl up the sides of the suit. If they ever make it to the top, you die. In order to stop them from getting to the top, you have to shake them off, but with every shake, you lose more and more progress on the springlocks, making it ever more likely that you do, in fact, die. In order to beat this night, it requires an extremely close to perfect performance, to the point where you need to count the exact amount of A and D presses, as even just a couple too many can instantly seal your fate. Luckily, the night is pretty short though, so we don't have to hold this perfect performance for too long. And while it killed more than a few good runs, we were eventually able to make it out in one piece, and with Night 5 being yet another cakewalk, we scoop ourselves out and prepare ourselves. You see, there's a
reason I've been so secretive about FNAF 6. It's the one I knew for a fact I've never been able to beat before, and by far the one that scared me the most out of the original series. Hopping into my first night, I had no idea what to expect, but luckily, this game starts similar to FNAF 3 in terms that it gives you a night with no animatronics. We spend a little while getting accustomed to things, but before long, we finish the night and head into the salvage. And this is where the game is going to start seriously ramping up and... Huh. Oh yeah, that's right! We don't need any of these animatronics! We can beat this game just fine without ever taking in a single one of them! The animatronics in this game are purely optional! And that means that we're completely home free. Because we're allowed to take any ending we want, we can just get one of the endings where the game tells us to get good and move our asses along. From here, we return to finish off the run with the original 3. By this point, we're almost 65 hours into the run, and I was so excited to finally play some of the 3D era games. Pushing through FNAF 1 was an absolute breeze. FNAF 3 was about as easy as you could expect, and... What's that noise? No, not again. Not again, please! 65 hours. 65 hours, and that fucking puppet is still haunting me. This was the point that the challenge really started to take a mental toll on me. When I had it in my mind that getting past the gauntlet would be our only issue, it was easy to make the challenge seem smaller, more manageable, but the entire time I'd completely forgotten that I still have to get through the original 3 games. While FNAF 1 and 3 might not be a threat on their own, FNAF 2 puts any run that reaches it into a very literal coin flip. This challenge started feeling completely impossible, and it was around this time that I seriously started considering throwing in the towel. But there was still a glimmer of hope. By now, I'd bested every single game individually, and while getting through them all in one go was going to suck, I knew that if we ever managed to do it, if we ever managed to make it to the 3D games, we would be home free. People who've been watching this channel for a while will already know about my previous antics with the 3D era of FNAF games. And with it, I was extremely confident that the final third of the challenge would be the easiest of them all. And with that thought in mind, I found myself having the willpower to make one last push. One final grind to end this challenge.
Finally, FNAF 2 down. Holy dog shit, man. Fuck that game. Fuck that game in its ass. Okay. This is our security breach, beginning of the 3D era. I'm quite confident we can just ace this first try.
As we begin our first steps into the 3D era, we were feeling extremely confident, with the only threats in this game being Chica, Roxy, and all of which being extremely easy to avoid. I was so confident that I even decided I was going to try beating it without using any of my speedrunning bullshittery. That meant running through the tunnels, the daycare, the atrium, the kitchen, all of which we had very little trouble with. The only section of the whole game that worried me was this little spot where you had to run past a bunch of security bots, but once we got past that, I was pretty secure that we were going to beat this game without issue. Reaching about the halfway point to the game, we head on up to start showtime. While this normally is supposed to be a bit of a gauntlet style moment, it's laughably easy to exploit the animatronics AI here. Roxy loses sight of you the moment you run up the escalator, Chica can't reach you if you just go behind the control panel, and from there the only animatronic in your way is Roxy, and she's pretty easy to... What? Why is he here? He never spawned in here during my practice runs. No, this can't be it.
I know you're here.
No!
I was done. This was the moment where I told my chat that I was throwing in the towel. 90 whole hours of my life had been dedicated to trying to beat this challenge, and I had absolutely nothing to show for it. Going through the originals, the gauntlet, security breach all over again, it was just simply too much. And in that moment, my only wish was to never have to touch a FNAF game ever again.
I don't know how long this challenge is going to take me. It's probably going to take ages. FNAF legend, I am all of FNAF.
Was that the bite of 83?
You guys are dweebs. My heart's actually pounding, holy fuck. We are done with Click Team. I am so fucking excited for this, chat. So fucking excited.
No, I couldn't let it end here. I didn't care if it would take me another 90 hours. I will beat this challenge. I booted up my PC one more time, preparing for hours upon hours of failure. But it was in that moment that something finally clicked. I was playing downright perfectly, making zero mistakes, reacting to every situation, slicing through these games night by night. This is why I took up this challenge, because there's no better feeling than toppling something you'd been failing at for so long. FNAF 4, FNAF 2, sister location, game after game, we pushed through until eventually making it back to security breach. We were taking no chances this time. I deployed every dirty trick I had in my book. And as soon as we made it into the atrium, I had a plan in mind. You see, calling Freddy while next to some kind of gate or door can quite often make Freddy spawn in on the other side. And if we perfectly time it so that we enter Freddy on the exact same frame that he gets teleported, he can take us along with him. Using this, we can clip into Roxy Raceway far before we were supposed to and head on down for the sinkhole. As even at the very beginning of the game, the button that allows us to enter the Afton fight is fully functional, allowing us to make a purple guy spit roast and end the game within minutes of starting it. Next up, Ruin. This was a game that I used to speedrun back in the day, so I know both it and all of its tricks like the back of my... What's that? Anyway, if you want a more in-depth overview of the route for this game, check out this older video of mine detailing the run. For now though, all you need to know is that the mask lets us do a whole bunch of cool things. Take this section for example. By using an extremely precise jump, we can completely bypass the entirety of the daycare, and then by putting on the mask in a specific spot, we can teleport straight into the theater, completely skipping the entirety of chapter 2 in a matter of seconds. Similar skips are dotted all across the game, allowing us to skip chapters 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 in their entirety. For those of you who've played the game before, you'll already know that even when played normally, Ruin is very easy and can be downright difficult to die in at times. So with us being able to skip the vast majority of it, we didn't have anything even resembling a close call for the entirety of our playthrough. And as we enter Brazil, that marks down every single FNAF game besides one. And with that, we were now headed for Secret of the Mimic.
We'll pray he won't die today. Oh, we'll be fine. I practiced all of the difficult parts of this game, so I have a feeling we'll be all right. This is a stream you win. Yep, you can basically already consider it done, in all honesty. We're basically just doing a victory lap now. I tried to do my best to make it look like I had things under control, but behind all that bravado, I was shitting bricks. We were now over 100 hours into the run, and if we die here, I honestly don't know if I could bring myself to try again. With that said, you would actually be surprised at just how much of this game is relatively easy. The Jackie chase, for instance, while it looks very deadly, is actually pretty hard to mess up. There are only really two segments that scared me, and those were the Big Top chase and the Springlock assembly. The Big Top chase is scary for one reason and one reason alone. It's completely random, meaning the path you need to take changes each time you play, and if you're too slow to react to these changes, then it could be a very heartbreaking way to lose a run. I was skittish, physically recoiling every time I went anywhere close to one of Big Top's arms, and... Oh. That's it?
Check the map. You can get there through the workshops.
Yes. I think I remember where I need to go here. Okay, this segment. I did this one the other day again, and I did it pretty flawlessly, so I think we'll be okay here. Alright. We just gotta watch for where the Mimic spawns and react accordingly. You're fucking kidding me. You're fucking kidding me. You're fucking kidding me. So, I'm sorry guys, but I think that was all the fire I had left in me. Over 100 hours worth of attempts, and I never even... Wait,
You fools!
balls. You really believe this would be it? You think I would leave the ending of my run to chance? I have had you, chat. From the very beginning of the stream, you believed, you put your faith in me, and I have bewildered every single one of you. Take a look at when this was recorded. 2 days as I start my run. I head into the office, I get my security permissions, and I head over to this spot. Because over here, there's a glitch in the system, chat. You see, normally you can't jump in this game. And that rules out so many of security breaches, speedrun skips, but you can crouch and you can uncrouch. And when combining that with the Faz wrench thing, you can do this. Here it comes. There it is, chat. And you can get out of bounds. And you can get out of bounds, chat. And what can you do when you're out of bounds, chat? What can you do when you're out of bounds? What can you do when the world is your oyster? When the game bends to your will? You can go straight to the ending, chat. Straight to the ending that's right there. Straight to the ending that you begin the game at. And we beat this game before the stream even started. This challenge has been over this whole time. I'm getting lightheaded. Oh. And like that, chat, we're done. We're free. We're out of this challenge. Finally. You have no idea how good it feels to say that.